Alrighty, what do we got today? Base and allies. I think that's it. No, Puka is Nocturne. Alrighty, as its guardian. The liaison, or no, the ally is League of Bankers. The liaison is student. What's going on here? So, for draw we got Highwayman, Library, Puka. In the forts pile, there's gonna be a lot of cards in this one. 2 different split piles. Garrison is draw, Stronghold is draw. In Wizards, Lich is kind of draw. Alright. Actions. Specialist is actions. That might be the big limitation here. Lich is kind of actions, but you skip a turn, so not really. It's a steep price to pay for a village. So I think it's, just Specialist is going to be the big restriction here. Trashing. Puka kills coppers. Probably more significant will be Student, which can trash anything, and it trashes treasures for benefit. And plus buy. There's no buys in the kingdom. Specialist can gain things. Bureaucrat can gain silver. Swap can gain things, kinda, sorta. Hillfort's a gainer. Conjurer's a gainer. We got gains. So, the gains are a little restrictive because there's not a great way to score a lot of points. Like without plus buy, you can often still build plenty big. For example, the remodel, right? You could remodel 6 cost cards in a province. Here, I don't see any way to get more than 1 province per turn, unless I'm missing something. There's not even, as far as I can tell, a way to get like province and a duchy. You could, for example, buy 1 stronghold and then gain additional strongholds off of your specialist. You could gain estates off of like Hillfort or Conjurer, which is something. You can give out curses. So you can score little bits of points, but it's actually not that easy to score more than a province per turn, which will be a bit of a hindrance. It means building isn't automatically correct. The villages are also a little bit restrictive. It's just Specialist, which is, that's fine. It's a good card. Although it's better when there's a lot of cantrips, and here there's not that many of them. Swap and Hillfort, I think, are the only 2. I guess Sorcerer as well. Yeah, fairly limiting kingdom. A lot going on. It doesn't come together all that great. So what's the goal here? League of Bankers, not that significant. Probably you're getting student anyway, and you'll trigger this at least once. If you trash all 7 treasures, you get 2 coins per turn, which I guess is nice, but not super significant because there's no plus buy. Definitely want Specialist. Swap has a lot of synergy with Garrison. Makes Garrison a lot better. Like you just swap cards in and out, and it doesn't even matter what you're gaining. You're just gaining lots of stuff, and it makes the Garrison bigger. So that's probably the main draw long term. Highwayman is usually a good first draw card. A lot of tempo, and it slows down your opponent. So you get a Highwayman to kick things off. Specialist, swap, Garrison, something like that eventually, I think. Goes places probably. How to open? Probably Militia Student. I want Student to thin. Militia's pretty strong. At some point you get a pair of Guardians and the attack stop mattering, and then you can swap the Militia out and that's fine. I could see opening with like maybe even double Student or Student Intent. I don't really want to get to Garrison anytime soon. It's not a card that's good until your deck is ready to gain a bunch of things per turn. So Intent's not going to be important here in the early game, I don't think. I totally forgot that Curse Gold existed. That's on me. So because Puka's in the kingdom, we start with the Curse Gold in place of 1 copper. Listen, it's been a second. So now I'm reconsidering the correct opening. Maybe it should have just been student and nothing. I don't really want to curse that badly. What did the hard bot do? Highwayman, okay. Yeah, that looks reasonable. Yeah, I'm upset with what I've done. Did I take a curse to get a student in my deck? That doesn't sound ideal. Maybe I'll just take a guardian here. They got a highwayman. That means I'm slow to thinning though, which also is terrible. The curse goal just makes this really awkward. A 3-3 split, I think you just do like double student or student tint or something. 4-2 seems rather awkward. I'm just gonna take the guardian, I guess. Again, buys are limited. Guardian is not a card I can easily gain. Next turn, am I likely to hit 3? Probably more likely than not. Their Highwayman isn't actually that big of a threat. If I have Curse Gold in hand, I can play that first and let that take the Highwayman hit. So Highwayman, swap, specialist. Probably Highwayman first. Alrighty. I've been attacked. I guess it doesn't really matter whether I rotate this. Don't terribly care whether the bot can get a conjure. I don't really want to conjure right now either. Alrighty. Still don't care much about rotating, I don't think. I'm not sure if trashing the coppers before the estates is correct. It might not be. Obviously top decking the student is kind of good because it means I'm thinning faster. And it only top decks if you trash a copper. And the main downside, of course, is you hit lower numbers by trashing coppers first. But League of Bankers, once they get to that, hopefully offsets that partially. This could all be an error. Wouldn't rule it out entirely. Maybe I do need to buy 1 silver to get up to 5 reliably. Either specialist or swap now. I'm gonna need villages. Probably specialist first. I don't have enough swap targets. I wouldn't mind swapping the militia, for example. But I only got the 1 guardian, so it still potentially matters. This does not get to 5, alas. I don't think there's any notable lich synergies here. There's no way to put stuff in the trash for value. I mean, kind of, sort of. You could trash a copper to buff your League of Bankers and then get the copper back, but that's not really a thing. Don't think it really matters whether that's on top. And I guess I'll go ahead and take a tint now. There's a decent chance that's just an action card that gets swapped in a minute. Alrighty. Well, this is 5 just all on its own, so I don't need to play it a second time. Swap. Conjure is starting to look like an okay card. Don't really have the deck control to support it. Hopefully soon. Conjurer gains you cheap actions, you swap them into more expensive stuff. Let's play that one more time. Take another specialist. Unfortunately, I could not find my specialist here. Love to swap one of these out. They didn't play a Guardian. That's something. Yeah, there's nothing I terribly much want right now. I'm just buying any old action card because in a moment they'll become better action cards. I think I'm behind, just looking at this. Bots up 3-2 on specialists and 3-1 on Highwayman. I do have the swaps, which is something. Looks like the bot's also thinner for what it's worth. They got 7-8 favors now, so they've trashed all their treasures. Okay, let's see what we can do. Specialist, swap. They got Guardians in play, so the militia doesn't matter. I think I might just take a Puka here, so I can draw my deck. Swap. Gotta play at least one more to make sure I draw everything. Now I can afford to gain a copy. And I've got to double play the swap because I want to draw the Highwayman. I can't afford to trash any treasures, it looks like. Oh, actually, I don't even have a Guardian in play. So not only can I not afford to trash treasures, I have to do the opposite of trash treasures. I have to make some extra money to hit 5. Maybe I don't care about that. Hitting 5 is probably not that important. I'll gain the last specialist, and then I can buy any old action card and swap it into something. So I swap this into what? A second Highwayman doesn't get me a specialist. Second specialist doesn't give me all that much either, but that's probably the correct answer. Or maybe it's a swap. Yeah, this works. This is better. Then we play swap once, decline, play it again. There we go. The important thing, I think, was to make sure I got the last specialist. I cared about that a lot. Gain a copy. Take a student, I guess. I wanted a tint as well to get to garrison, but I can gain tint mid-turn just fine. Whereas the student, they might rotate the pile and then I miss out on that. The swap does not stay out as long as you only play the Highwayman once. The rule is that cards that play cards additional times stay out with the card that you played. Did I say swap? I meant specialist. If you specialist Highwayman and play it twice, both will stay out, but if you just use the specialist to gain the card, it won't. Alrighty, let's see what we can do. Take a specialist, swap. Student into swap. Play again. Puka into tint. Don't think I'm doing this optimally. In fact, I feel like I'm doing this rather suboptimally. Got the garrison in play at least. Swap into swap. Play again. I don't know, let's swap into a Puka. Gain a copy. Specialist swap. Gain a specialist. Play again. It's probably time to buy a province, to be honest. When you can't gain more than one province per turn, you don't want to get too far behind on the province split, just because it's not easy to catch up. Like if you lose the province split 5-3 in this kingdom, you can come back with a bunch of estates and giving out curses and stuff. But that's a lot of work. So I'd rather not. I definitely want to swap something. I guess it's just going to be another garrison. Specialist, garrison, gain copy. Play all this by province. And now I think my deck should be pretty well set up. So the bot's keeping pace on provinces, which means on top of getting a province per turn, we'll have to score some additional points here somewhere. It shouldn't be that hard. So specialist, play garrison, gain copy, play again, swap. I want to swap the tint into a hill fort, but actually I can't because the tint would go back on top of the pile. We do that, I suppose. Play again. Do that. It might behoove me to rotate hill forts and gain a stronghold here. I can't get enough of swap because it's only up to 5. But buying one hill fort, I can easily print the other 3 hill forts off of swaps, or specialists rather, at that point. And that's 8 points with a little extra work. That's probably correct. So I guess let's rotate this pile. +1 card, +1 action. Sure, let's gain a militia. And now we just gain all sorts of stuff. At this point, I've kind of lost track of what I'm even resolving. There's not a whole lot of value in hitting your opponent with more than one sorcerer per turn, because if they guess wrong the first time, they know the top card of their deck, and they'll always guess right the second time. There's exceptions to that, like with Governor or Council Room or something. You can make them draw a card and then have them guess again. But sorcerer is in general not a very strong card, so like that's not a terribly important interaction. Anyways, should return something. They got Guardian. Yeah, they got Guardian. Goodbye, Militia. I guess. Swap. Swap. Let me watch out for piles. I actually might just be buying a second province here. Now looking at piles. Because I could pile out swaps and have him in next turn. Do they have any swaps? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have all of them, so this is safe. If I didn't have all the swaps, I'd be more concerned about them piling out. But this should be, I think, a fairly trivial win next turn. With 17 garrison draw plus 3 highwaymen, I think I'm not going to struggle too much. Yeah, I think the bot had an early lead, if I'm not mistaken. It was head on specialists, ahead on highwaymen. I remember that. Maybe skipping swap was too big of a deal. It also never did the garrison stuff. I don't love my opening. I don't know what the correct opening was. Maybe just student and guardian? I don't know. Or student highwayman maybe taking a curse. Sounds a little bit better than militia highwayman. That sounds a lot better than militia highwayman, actually. Maybe that's the correct answer. Alright, well there's my whole deck. So, how many piles can we empty here? Definitely the swaps. I'm not seeing an easy way to do a 4th pile. Maybe specialist, tint, rotate twice, and then double play 3 hill forts, could pile guardians. That seems like a plan. Swap something that's not the garrison. Sorcerer, I suppose. Actually, why did I do that? I gotta rotate first. Play again, rotate, okay. Play again. Bureaucrat. Right, there's 3 piles, and the points lead, and this should be, oh no, this isn't going to be 4 piles, shoot. I would have to return the highwayman to pile out the swaps. It can be a different 3 piles. There we go. Yeah, good enough. It might be a few too many highwaymen there, hard bot.